Is something? Sorry, I'm hearing something in the background. I think it's my own voice. Just realized. Okay, sorry. Let me start again.
Hello and welcome to episode 34 of the Lazy Couch Podcast. This is a weekly podcast covering the latest in technology, the internet, movies, and so much more. My name is Kelvin Lee, and I'm with my co-host Geoff Kim, and we're recording this live on Wednesday, 7th October in Sydney, Australia. How are you, Geoff?
I am not too bad, Kelvin.
Yeah.
Happy long weekend. Well, we just had one. So
we just had one.
It's a bit sad, actually, because now we're coming down to the rigors of work.
Back to reality.
Yeah. How was your long weekend?
It was good. Spent at the beach. It was hot.
It was damn hot.
Yeah, it was very hot. Spent some time with family. And also put us on YouTube.
Yeah.
So if you're listening now on YouTube, don't forget to like us and subscribe. For those who don't know, check it out. So you can find it on our website or just search for us on YouTube and let us know what you think.
And you want to tell us a little bit about what you did to that YouTube? So it's not just the sound.
No, it's not just the sound.
Soundtrack.
So I added a couple of images.
It's like a slideshow.
It's like a slideshow. Yeah. It just gives it a bit more zing, a bit more character. That was kind of fun.
Bit of visuals over our audio. Yeah, basically.
No. That gives you a bit of a better idea into what we're talking about as well. Sometimes we can be talking about.
It's very watchable, Kelvin. I've got to say, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy with it. And lots more plans. We might talk about some of the new YouTube features some other time, but we've got a lot to talk about today. So.
That's right. For me, yeah, a lot of sport. It was grand final for both the AFL and the NRL, and not too much into the AFL, especially Sydney Swans are not in it. Mm-hmm. But the NRL grand final was pretty amazing. Did you get to see?
I watched the highlights of it, and it looked like a pretty good game.
Yeah, they're saying the greatest grand final of all time. I have to agree.
Yeah.
The only other one that kind of comes close is the '89 grand final. Mm. But yeah, 17-16, congrats to JT and the North Queensland Cowboys. And I also watched a lot of X-Files.
Yeah.
So I was pretty much in an air-conditioned environment at my parents' place, and I got through about 10 episodes over the weekend. So
with mum and dad?
No, they weren't into it as much, but my emoji reviews are still going strong.
Yep.
Up to season 4 now, so yeah, getting there.
You know what we should do? You should make me guess what your emojis stand for maybe in the next episode, because I can't get any of it right.
Yep, and as a quick follow-up and bit of a, I guess, service announcement, public service announcement.
It's a good one.
If you're a bit like me and did not unsubscribe from the free Apple Music trial that went for 3 months, if you signed up on the first day, then it would have renewed automatically last week, and I totally missed it. I didn't add it to my calendar, so I got charged $13.
Hey.
But if you've already if you subscribed a little bit later than that, you still have time. So I'm going to tell you how to unsubscribe. Unless, of course, you want to keep on the service. But basically, the best way to do it is go to your iTunes on your PC or your Mac, go into the settings, the account settings, which is, there's like a silhouette on the top right corner, and you go into account info, and then you can manage your subscriptions from there. Yeah. And when I did this, I realized I was subscribed to a couple of other services, like the NRL app and all of those.
But it's not intuitive, is it?
No. Like you wouldn't, if you didn't look this up, you would.
Watching you do it was painful. Yeah. I mean, they definitely don't make
Yeah, and it's strange because like on my phone, because apparently you could do it through your iPhone and iPad as well, but I couldn't find that setting. So I think maybe it depends on how you subscribed. If you subscribe through iTunes, maybe it's only through iTunes. Yeah. But anyway, give that a go if you like, and hopefully you'll have better luck than I did.
Yeah. So a bit of follow-up from me about iOS 9. So just before I went to bed, I got a notification from my phone saying, hey, 9.0.1 is now ready. Do you want to install now? The other thing we can do is you can set the time for it to be done in. So for example, you can say 2 to 4 a.m. when the phone is plugged in. I've never seen that feature before.
Okay.
So you can do it when you sleep, and then it reboots and you don't have to think about it. So I did that. And then in the morning, I freaked out because I had no more cell coverage.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, okay. And then immediately, 30 seconds after, there was a notification for...
Is that a common thing? Because I've got no problems.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I looked it up and I couldn't find anything, but I had no cell coverage. All I had was Wi-Fi. Which is kind of odd. And then immediately I got another notification for 9.0.2.
But that's dangerous because if you're at home, you're on Wi-Fi, so you wouldn't know that you wouldn't get cell
No,
coverage.
It's only when I looked at it. So I could have ran out of the house. But thankfully, 9.0.2 was a very small update. It didn't mention anything about that. But in the past, I remember there were iPhone updates that sort of killed the cell reception. So I'm not quite sure where that's coming from. But if you have any issues with 9.0.1, I say get 9.0.2.
Yeah, I'm still hanging for 9.1, which is meant to be in November timeframe, because that's going to have the new set of emojis. So everyone's looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Also the news app.
Yeah, the news app. Yep. So lots coming up with the show. We've got the Microsoft announcement, we've got Twitter news, we've got Google news. So let's get kicked in.
Villager news.
So first up, we have a bit of Twitter news and update. So Jack Dorsey, the founder or the co-founder of Twitter originally, he's been interim CEO for the past, 3-4 months since the stepping down of Dick Costolo. And now he's been announced as the real CEO, I guess, the permanent CEO. And I guess this is no surprise to everyone. He feels like he's the right guy for the job. The strange thing is he's also the CEO of the payments company Square. So any thoughts on that, Kelvin?
Yeah, so the first thing he said was, I had very talented teams. So he must have very talented right-hand men or / women running Square and Twitter at the same time. But I think it was a necessity. I just think with the way Twitter was performing, and it needed Jack to come back.
I wonder if it's more of a symbolic thing for, the Twitter lovers and even Wall Street, because I don't know, he's the founder. I guess he's got the clout and the I heard someone talk about the moral authority to make these sort of wide changes. If they wanted to get rid of the 140 character limit, if it came from Jack Dorsey, it feels a bit more
acceptable,
real,
flattable. I don't know. I guess the only thing we can compare it to is Apple. I mean, they did exactly the same thing with Steve Jobs coming back. I mean, obviously, we don't know if this is going to have the same impact.
Yep.
But, Jack took Twitter as far as he could. He left, and now he's back to see where he can take it.
Yep.
So we'll see. I don't know. I think getting rid of the 140 character limit is...
They got to do it.
They have to, but everything changes after that.
Yeah.
Everything will change for Twitter. I think it won't become that quick, short message service. It will have to be a full-blown social network, I think, to compete.
So for years, the knock on Twitter has been that it's too hard to use. Average people would pick up the app and they wouldn't know who to follow or what a favorite was or what a retweet was. And this year, that actually became a big problem. Twitter's user growth plateaued, the stock price plummeted, and Twitter had to figure out what its next step was. And what they decided to do was to try to build a version of Twitter inside the main app that would be easy enough for anyone to use. They're calling it Moments, and it rolls out today.
Yes, Moments is the Project Lightning initiative that we talked about a few months ago now. But that's rolling out today, and that was a total surprise. Part of many surprises today, actually, that we'll talk about later. But this is only for the US at the moment, which is disappointing. I'm not sure why they're doing that by geography, which doesn't make any sense. But it's rolling out.
Yeah,
today.
It doesn't make any sense, as well as I wouldn't start with the US if I wanted to pilot something, because that's where most of the critics are. And if you're going to launch it for the US, which I have a feeling is majority of Twitter's base anyway, just do it worldwide. I mean...
Yeah, so we heard a little bit from Casey Newton there from The Verge explaining what it is, but essentially it's a way for new Twitter users, like Twitter noobs, to go into the app or the web experience and interact with Twitter and get something interesting rather than trying to follow people and do it, and do it in a very sort of visual, striking way. And I kind of liken it to the way you sort of go through Snapchat news items.
But it's got nothing for the people who are on it at the moment who know how to use Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably check it out, when eventually it comes to Australia. I think it's still a few months away from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't have some of the Facebook features, 2 years after.
I don't get that, man. I really don't get that. I thought it was for everyone.
Maybe I have to, I don't know, uninstall Facebook or disappear from Facebook for a while and then...
Did you say something, Geoff, about Facebook?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not talking about Zuckerberg enough on the podcast.
Yeah, maybe you're not.
Yeah, so that was exciting, but kind of disappointing news at the same time for me because it's not available here. The other thing they said was that if you do see a link via Twitter to the new experience, Moments, then you will see that if you click on that link, you'll have that on the
regardless of your geo.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
But you don't have that Moments tab like you would for US users, where you get that sort of rich experience.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that. What was that Facebook app that they were playing around with?
Oh, the news one.
Yes, that's another thing that's only available on the US
we
App
don't
Store.
get here.
Yeah.
I don't know what is with that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're afraid of. Considering that, most mobile users in Australia, we have more connections. We have more mobile connections per 100 people than the US. Anyway,
Yeah.
on to Apple. So Apple's been buying more stuff. So Apple has bought an artificial intelligence company called Perceptio. It's a startup developing technology to let companies run their own advanced AI systems on smartphones without having to share too much data. So their leaders, Nicholas Pinto and Zach Stone, they're both very established researchers.
Wow, great names too.
No, great names, yeah. Born to be engineers, who specialize in developing image recognition systems using deep learning. So it's basically an approach to AI that lets computers learn to identify and classify input that you give it. In the meantime, Apple has also acquired UK-based software startup to create Siri-like digital personal assistants capable of having long conversations.
Okay.
Because at the moment, when you talk to Siri, she kind of gives you that meh one-word answers and whatnot. But it doesn't do a good job of actually following through on that whole conversation. So you can't continue on. You have to give it keywords or to sort of be able to pick up what to do next.
Yeah.
So I think Apple is banking everything on, artificial intelligence. It knows that Google has the data edge at the moment. It's got everything. So it's going to have to add some personality to it.
And it's a bit of a big deal when Apple acquires companies, right? Because you see that like maybe 2 years down the track, that in practice. And so you can imagine like Siri having these features in iOS 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only sad thing is these companies will cease to exist, just like all the other purchases that Apple have.
So one to track. And speaking of Apple, Interbrand this week announced the top 100 global brands. So let's just go through those. So Apple and Google are number 1 and 2 again for the second or third year running, I believe.
Yeah.
So you've got that article open there? Yeah, okay. So the way they're valuing Interbrand's, their algorithm to value these companies is based on financial performance, the brand's ability to influence consumer purchases, and the extent to which it can support premium pricing, which is kind of weird. So I'm sure there's more elements to that, but those are the 3 sort of things that they've called out in the Verge article there. So yeah, I think 6 out of the top 10 are tech companies.
Yeah. So we have we have Apple, Google, Coke, Microsoft, IBM, Toyota, Samsung, and GE at top 8. So that bit about holding premium prices is quite a unique one, considering that Google doesn't really hold its value very well. So that's quite interesting. I don't know. Based on what we're about to talk about later in the show, I think Microsoft will make a bigger jump.
Yeah, I think so this
early
year.
Early predictions.
So if you have a look at the jump from last year, like Apple actually grew by 43%, which is crazy. And it's valued at 170,000 million, which is 170 billion.
I think a couple of big sort of other key winners and losers. IBM is down 10%, and I think I foresee that to continue to dip as well. Amazon is at number 10. They grew 29%. So they've got new Kindle Fire tablets that came out last week as well. So I foresee to continue to see that grow.
Yeah, I think the Alexa stuff as well.
Yeah. Number 13 with Disney. I think once Star Wars is out, they're gonna blow this chart away as well. So that's quite interesting.
Facebook is kind of lingering down at 23.
Yep.
1 below Gillette.
Yeah, but up 54% though.
It is, yeah. That's the biggest rise out of all the top 100 at 22 billion valuation.
Yep. And if you're into your fashion brands, your French fashion brands, Hermes is up 22% at 41. And besides that, you've got your other usual brands like 3M is up 17% at 59. Thanks to us buying Post-it notes. Seriously, man, all the startups and agile startups are just buying Post-it notes like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, the other sort of trend is the emergence of the Chinese companies or Taiwanese. So you got Huawei and sorry, I can't say
Huawei. Just point your finger at me and I'll do it.
Okay.
But lastly, at 97, you got PayPal, which is new to this chart, at 4.251 million.
No, that's 4 billion.
4 billion, sorry. Just below Hugo Boss and above Mini, which is quite interesting.
Ones to escape or exit the list.
Yeah.
I wrote that down. Nokia and Nintendo.
Yeah, they're done.
Nintendo's
Well,
done. Nokia's
no-
definitely done.
Nokia, I think Nokia is obviously now by Microsoft, so they're out. I think Nintendo is
So
done.
let's step into the time machine and let's go back to 2006, Kelvin.
Yeah.
Where would Nokia have been on this list, you reckon? It would have been in the top 10.
Yeah, it
You
would have been in
think?
the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy. With Wii back then, everyone had a Wii.
Yeah.
Now it's just a really, really nice paperweight.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is I don't know. I'm a bit dubious of this algorithm or the way they came up with this list, but it's some like pretty interesting companies, and there's definitely some trends. I mean, there's Jack Daniels there, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, it's cars, fashion brands, tech companies. They're just killing it on this list. So on to other news. Last week we spoke a lot about how I was using Uber a lot in the US. We've got news this week in Queensland. 2 Uber drivers were bashed by a group of men in Fortitude Valley and Kangaroo Point early on Monday morning. A third motorist who did not work for Uber was also bashed. And what does the taxi industry do? The taxi boss of Brisbane basically came up and said, "That's what we need, people. We need more militant type approaches to these Uber drivers." So he's actually encouraging his own taxi drivers to go and beat the hell up of Uber drivers. So the post obviously has been removed, but hey, they took a screenshot. So Greg Collins is also advises taxi drivers to slap Uber drivers like he did the other night on Warner Street. So I mean, this is just a sign of the taxi industry knowing that they're fighting a losing war and just reacting at that. It just makes them all look so bad. They're coming up as a bad guy, and whereas the difference is in Canberra, they're working together to try and reduce taxi fees and try to give Uber drivers a bit more protection. So this is definitely the wrong approach to everything. It's kind of sad that they're reacting this way.
Yeah, but it's actually got nothing to do with the fact that it was Uber, right? It could have happened to any taxi driver.
Yeah, but I think somehow they were recognized. Taxi drivers had recognized 2 Uber drivers, and therefore they got into a fight.
Right.
Yeah, so they were targeted by taxi drivers.
Or it could have been set up by this Greg Collins guy.
I don't know, man.
To
but
get
this
news.
This is just funny that considering that Uber is so well accepted in the US, it's just such a different story over here.
I mean, I think tide could be turning, but there's some interesting things happening in California in terms of the lawsuit for. I think they're trying to get Uber drivers to be not contractors but full-time employees, right? Yeah, so that's happening. Over
Watch
there.
the space. A lot happening in the crowd sharing driver type space.
Everything Google, everything Google, everything Google. Google rocks! Everything Google, everything Google, everything Google. You can use as your email.
Everybody gets marshmallows if you have a Nexus device. So Marshmallow, the 6th version of Android, is now available for all Nexus users. We spoke about this in the last couple of episodes. I've been on the preview for a while now. I did want to push the Nexus 5 and automatically and manually install Marshmallow, but it was so popular last night that I couldn't download the image properly.
So this is on your 5?
Yeah, on the Nexus 5.
Okay.
So I thought we'd quickly go through some of the features that you will get that we've spoken about previously. So you will get Now on Tap. So basically you get Google Now in any app that you're in, and it will quickly read a message, for example, and give you something relevant. You've got a longer lasting battery. It's found different algorithms to sort of use the battery power a lot better, a lot like iOS now, which does it really well. It's going to give you much more good control over your app permissions. So you actually get to go into every single app and adjust the permissions.
And I think it's going to sort of go with the iOS style of letting you choose at the time of use.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one by one. So that will help your privacy. It's going to provide fingerprint support. So depending on the hardware that you have, as we spoke about the Nexus 5X and 6P that's coming soon, that will have that. And when you boot up and set up your phone for the first time, it's going to be a lot faster. So those are just some of the quick features. So if you're on a Nexus 5, 9, 7, go ahead, wait for that over-the-air update, or you can manually do it on the website.
Yeah, so I can't remember if I told you about this, Kelvin, but I'm really considering the 6P as my sort of new phone for the year.
Yeah, it's a good choice. I think you were tossing up between the 5X and the 6P. And
I think I'll go 6P just because it's a good way to test out the bigger screen for me as well.
Yeah.
So I feel a bit scared to, like, if I went to the 6S Plus, that would seem like, well, I haven't really tried this screen yet, screen size. So yeah, I think it'll be my second phone, really.
Yeah.
But
no, I used to have a Note 2 and I love the big size. So definitely go for it. In other Google news, Google have also bought a company similar to Apple. They bought a messaging company, not just any messaging company, but I'm not sure if you've seen this before. Most trading houses, when you go in, you see all these screens and going everywhere, giving you news and the latest share prices and whatnot. So there's a company called Symphony Communication Services that challenges Bloomberg's LP terminals, and that's what Google has bought. So I think Google is making a play for the finance industry. One of the things that it does really well is encryption. So obviously, when you do play in the finance space, you need to keep your data secure. So what Google does with that encryption technology is a big guess, but we'll see what happens. They are worth about $650 million.
yeah, that's quite significant, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. I think anything in the finance space, if you do make money off it, it'll definitely cost a lot of money.
Sure.
In other quick news, the Google Glass isn't dead. So there is news that Google has patented hologram technology for Google Glass. So we'll be talking about more hologram when we talk about the Microsoft announcement, but it looks like Google is recognizing that the whole VR, AR space and the hologram space can't be ignored. So they've bought their way into it. So we'll see what happens in that space.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Microsoft Windows 10 Devices Briefing.
There are moments that are about more than technology. They are the moments that shape our history. Great moments of innovation that can change everything.
Okay, so big surprise this morning, Kelvin. So you had no idea about this, right?
No, I didn't. Well, I knew something was coming, but I didn't realize it was this big.
So I saw some tweets, I think last night when I was just doing some research for the show today, and this came up for me, and I thought, it's actually on tonight. And I was like sort of looking at the time, trying to work out what time it might have been. I thought maybe it's going to be 9 o'clock in the morning for us, something like that. It turned out it was like 5 minutes. Like when I was researching it, it was like 5 minutes away. So I was like, okay, I might as well check it out at 1 o'clock in the morning. So amazing announcement. Let's just start by saying that.
So you stayed up for another keynote. I think we need to put that. So you've done the Grand Slam of keynotes. Which is respect, by the way. I think before we start the show, I watched it and I was very impressed. And I thought we might put that out there to sort of give you a perspective of what we're about to say here. Microsoft have really pulled everything out. Like they're throwing the kitchen sink at their own OEMs. They're throwing the kitchen sink at Apple and Google and everyone else.
Yeah, and we might sort of chat about what this all means for the whole industry and the way people are going to work and think about Microsoft. But in terms of the announcements, there were a series of them. This was, I guess the tagline for this was Windows 10 devices. That was the hashtag as well. So the first thing was Xbox One, Xbone. So it's a bit of a rehash of the previous things that were announced, but they quickly sort of went through the Elite controller, how you could get Windows 10 on your Xbox, as well as being able to play Xbox on your Windows 10 PC. And the big sort of gaming feature for them is Halo 5, which is out December-ish, I believe.
Just for Christmas.
That's right. The next thing was this amazing HoloLens demo. And we've seen a couple of demos already, but this one was to demonstrate Project X-Ray, which is a game you can play in the comfort of your own lounge room, possibly in a few years' time. But the way you can sort of imagine it is like it's a shoot 'em up sort of thing. They used wearable holograms.
Yes.
So it was a bit of a the way they set it up was like you don't get to see the person's point of view, but there was a separate camera, like a red camera that had the full field of vision of that environment in the mixed reality world. And so this guy who was wearing the HoloLens on his head, he was holding this sort of stick in his hand as well. And through the red camera, like his hand would suddenly have this glove.
So it's similar to the Oculus controller I think we spoke of last week. And it's worth mentioning what a Red camera is as well. So Red is probably the most advanced camera you can
cinema grade,
buy. So it's cinema grade type camera. The only reason why I know this is because Marquez Brownlee on YouTube has one, and he spoke about it quite in depth.
Oh, is that what he uses?
Yeah,
to
he uses
YouTube?
Red, exactly, to do his YouTube. So he did it for the 4K perspective, but we won't go into that too much.
Yeah.
I think us talking about this will not do this Project X-Ray any justice. So we're going to just go into the show notes and check this out.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what you imagined VR/AR to be. Now available, basically. So what it was showing was, using furniture and using the walls in your room, and the technology knows where these things are to give you an environment that suits your living room, basically.
Yeah.
It's unique to you. So you could have things coming out of your couch, but if my couch is behind me, whereas Jeff's house, it could be on the left, it just knows how to use the furniture to simulate a gaming environment. So it's like nothing else you've ever seen.
So in January, when this was showcased, they kind of hinted that it was going to be available this year, but that's not the case. No. So they announced that for $3,000, developers can get their dev kit. So this is a very, very beta version, and that's not going to be available until Q1 next year.
Yeah.
For $3,000. So who knows when this is going to be out to the consumers.
Yeah.
And
my prediction is, even for the developers, this is going to be quite a limited release. I think you really got to sell it to Microsoft in terms of who you are and what you intend to do with the tech, because I think they want to control it just like Apple has.
Yeah.
And as we go through these announcements, you'll find that Microsoft is becoming more and more like an Apple.
Yeah. The next one we'll just talk about very quickly. It's the new version of the Microsoft Band, which is the fitness band. So not quite a smartwatch, I don't think you can say, but it's the fitness band category. A very high-end one at that. And they've announced that they've got a couple of new sensors, like built-in GPS, UV monitoring, which we're not quite sure how that's going to be used, a barometer to pick up your altitude in real time, and also your VO2 max sensor, which is your maximum volume of oxygen input, right?
Yeah.
Or output. Also, the other cool thing was it's got a golf shot auto detect.
Yeah.
So through the gyro and accelerometer, it picks out if you're swinging a golf club.
Yeah.
And also picks out if it's a practice swing or not.
Just don't know how it does that, but
yeah.
So it's very obvious if you're going after golf players and VO2 max athletes, this is always going to be a high-end device. So it's targeting the enthusiasts within a lot of us. So it's going for $249 USD, available at the end of October.
Yep. It's also Cortana enabled, so we're not quite sure how it's going to be connecting to the internet, but you would assume that you need a phone with it. Which phone, we're not sure yet. Yeah. Speaking of that, the Lumia 950 family was also announced, this time by a guy called Panos Panay, and we're going to sort of really, deconstruct the way he presented, because he was the star of the show.
Yeah, no, easily.
He was he's the Craig Federighi of Microsoft. He's got a bit of swagger about him.
Yeah,
I sort of liken him to Steve Jobs in the way he's so confident,
personality. He's got sass.
Definitely not boring.
No, definitely not boring. This whole thing wasn't boring, really. It was really, on the level of keynotes, this is actually really good. Yeah,
so the two new Lumia phones, 950 and 950 XL, no mention of Nokia. This is purely Microsoft. They'll be using octa-core and hexa-core processors, adaptive antennas, liquid cooling tech.
Yeah.
So you might have to explain a bit about that.
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Yeah. So basically, the only reason I know a little bit about liquid cooling is because in high school I used to build my own computers, and I still do it now. So fans can only do so much. So in the computing world, if you run a high-end PC, what you can do is run liquid or even coolant.
Some sort of coolant?
It is a coolant. It could be green, it can be blue, and it goes through all your components. But you need a fan to basically cool the coolant for it to as it goes around the system. So I'm really quite interested to see how it does it for a phone, considering there's no fan in there.
Well, there could be.
I don't know.
No? Okay.
It could be maybe it's connected to because the phone's made of metal. It could be using the phone as a radiator to cool the liquid.
Yeah, okay.
But it's still impressive tech.
That's crazy, yeah.
Very impressive tech.
Yeah, and the way Panos sold this was like bringing Windows 10 to life in your pocket, which is, I think, the problem with Windows phones is that you don't, for the consumer, everyday consumer, it's like, well, it's an alternative to iOS or it's an alternative to Android. Why would I get a Windows phone? But they're selling it as if now this is a companion to all your other Windows 10 devices, right? Which is a perfect way to market this.
Yeah, because there is no other differentiator. I mean, you would go for iOS because you like Apple and you like the premium feel of it. You go Android if you want a choice in hardware.
Yeah. And it's all kind of making sense now. The January Windows 10 event that talked about the way everything kind of converges together depending on, you know, whatever sort of device you're using. So this is all coming together. The Continuum demo with by I can't remember his name, but the guy in the hat, the purple hat.
The guy in the hat.
He's I don't know, he's an infomercial, kind of has a weird sort of Christopher Walken accent.
Yeah, that's just imagine Christopher Walken telling you to buy a phone.
Yeah, but his demo was amazing. Like, he connected one of the phones, probably the high-end one, 950 XL, to like a screen, like a display. I don't know, maybe 18-inch display.
Yeah. So I think the trick here is the USB-C connector it comes with. So there's a little dongle, you connect to USB-C. So we've spoken about USB-C in the past with the new MacBook, and one of the things it does really well is connectivity. So you can actually daisy chain things on USB-C because it has enough power to power through these things. So with this one, you can power a little hub that powers a screen, a mouse, and a keyboard.
Yeah.
Which is really impressive stuff. I know you were really impressed by this. Could be the one work device that we need.
Yeah, so maybe not this generation, but maybe 2 or 3 generations from now, you could totally see in the workplace, in the enterprise, just have, you know, because you go to meetings, you see people. It's I mean, we both work in a very what's the word for like hot desking?
Yeah, like, you know, it's we hot desk a lot. We move around a lot.
Exactly.
There's Wi-Fi connectivity. And we basically use keyboards, desks, and mice and screens that are on a desk. You just basically dock in.
Yeah. So you can replace your laptop with this phone, and then you can do all your like PC things.
Yeah.
Like using Outlook, using Office, the Office suite, and it all sort of scales like from the phone, powered by the phone, and you can use the phone and the display at the same time.
Yeah.
What the other thing that was really cool was so on the phone, like you got your the live tiles. So once you hook it up to the display, the start button actually becomes the live tiles.
Yeah.
So this is just crazily awesome.
Yeah. So basically, when you connect your phone to this dock, it recognizes that you want to go into desktop mode, and I don't know how it does this, but your phone still is a phone, but on the screen it's Windows 10.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I have Windows 10 on 2 computers at home, and I was telling Geoff before this, like, it's fine. You know, it's a really good system. It's easy to understand.
And you're saying there was an Android thing that tried to do this in the past?
Yeah. So in the past, there are like the Transformer by Asus. So basically, you could just plug in a mini HDMI, but it never recognized it as a desktop. It just took the phone and just chucked it on a screen.
Right.
There was no productivity play like this. So this is really impressive stuff.
It is, yeah. And you could do like all your keyboard shortcuts like you would on a PC or a laptop. Control-C, Control-V. Yep. Imagine doing that to some document that you have on your phone, being powered by the phone only. Yeah. So that's like, I don't know if you get the concept, but that's really, really cool.
Yeah. So just replace your laptop with a phone, and that's what it is. I like it how they also, you know, showed the example of, I got an email, there was an attachment, I double clicked on it, I did some stuff, I copied it, I used PowerPoint. So it's day-to-day stuff. Yeah.
And on the dock, you could connect a SD card.
Yes.
So some agency's giving you some creative files, and then you can just attach it to the PowerPoint or some, you know, even Photoshop, I guess.
Yeah. so there is no almost no difference between using your phone now to work than a desktop computer or a laptop. If it's pretty light, I would say. Yeah. But don't worry, Microsoft's got you covered there if you want to move on to the next level of power to do your work.
Yes, so I think you're trying to say Surface Pro 4.
In a very long-winded way.
Yes. First off, they sort of said it's now worth $3.5 billion to Microsoft. They've gone from 0 to 3.5 billion in a matter of 3 years, which is pretty cool. Like, I think people mocked the Pro Surface
when it first came out.
But yeah, this is going gangbusters right now. we're a little bit jealous of the guys that are getting the Surface Pros at work, actually.
Yeah, I want one.
They did the Thunderstruck ad.
AC/DC. There's nothing like a little AC/DC.
Yeah, and they mentioned, the competitors are chasing it now.
Which is kind of true when you think about it. They actually created a new category, and who would have thought Microsoft could pull something off? They created the tablet, attachable keyboard, laptop, pen category.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one.
So the Surface Pro 4, it's the thinnest one yet, of course. It's 8.4 millimeters, gone from 9.1 for the Pro 3. The size of the screen has increased, but the actual tablet or the Surface hasn't increased. Just the bezels have gone smaller. 267 ppi, which apparently makes the pictures look real, inverted commas.
Quote unquote.
Yeah. It's using a new thing called Pixel Sense technology, which is a 0.4 mil glass. So it makes the screen really pop, I think. And I'd love to, get my hands on this. When is the Microsoft store opening, actually?
I don't know. It's meant to be in Chatswood, right?
I thought Pitt Street Mall. Definitely. Maybe Chatswood as well.
Yeah. I know. I saw one in Vegas. It was okay.
Yeah. So apparently there's one opening this weekend in New York.
Wow.
And
just in time.
Yeah, just in time for this. So I hope maybe the timing will be similar.
Yeah.
It comes with a Surface Pen, which has a tail eraser at the end of it, which is kind of like my, what is this? The pencil.
Yes, that you bought.
The 53 pencil, which I hardly use now. That's okay. It's got 1,024 levels of pressure sensing. All year battery, so you only have to charge it once a year. And you can click the pen to open OneNote.
Yeah, so this is the ultimate OneNote device.
It is, yeah.
I think OneNote is pretty good. So we spoke about Evernote last week as well as Google Keep coming online. But if you have access to OneNote, I hear it's pretty good.
Yeah, and this is the ultimate sort of productivity device, isn't it? So I could totally see myself using this at work if I did have one. It's 30% faster than the Surface Pro 3, 50% faster than the MacBook Air, with a 16 gig RAM and 1 terabyte, I think up to was. I think that's the maximum, right?
I mean, considering that the biggest iPad you can get is 256. This is 4 times as much as which is, it says something. I mean, considering that, memory is so cheap, I'm really glad they went down the 1 terabyte route.
Yep. And I think that's the maximum. So it's starting at the $899 US price point, which means at 1 terabyte, you'd probably think a lot more than that. Available at the end of the month, 26th of October.
Yep.
They didn't say whether it's US only or not, but hoping that's available everywhere.
Yeah, and I also think it's worth talking about the new type cover. So it's got new functionality, and they like to brag this thing that they've been doing keyboards for a while now. It's got a new fingerprint reader, which I thought was really impressive, and the usual set of colors that you can buy.
Yeah, and it's a more sort of laptop-like experience in that the keys are kind of more separated, not so plasticky like the Pro 3.
Yeah, and the pen now attaches to the side of
so if you're holding it like portrait, it sort of goes to the top like a magnet.
Yep.
So it looks like a clipboard. You know what I mean?
Now I get it. Sorry, it took me a while to get there. But it's a really impressive device. I've seen this Surface Pro in action, and I'm really impressed.
Yeah. So do you think people are more likely to lose this because of the way it attaches to the side?
Yeah.
You maybe just fling it in your bag, and maybe
the pen might drop out.
Well, the pen might just be stuck in your bag, I suppose.
But we'll see. We'll see. But it's better than a string attached to it, right? So definitely a lot of good improvements here, and they've obviously not shy about bringing down Apple.
Yeah, and was that the last thing?
No, apparently there's one more thing. Who wants to see more hardware?
Yes. So they invented another category.
Yes.
So the Surface actually is replacing the laptop, but what did they do? This is a Surface to become a new laptop.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. So this is a Surface Book to compete with the MacBook Pros.
Yeah.
So it looks like a laptop with a classic sort of bendy hinge on the side. What did they calling it? They're calling it the fulcrum
The dynamic fulcrum hinge.
That's
I
it,
think.
yeah.
Yeah, that thing.
So it's, I don't know, if you look at it from the side, it's got this sort of like snake-like nature
Yes.
to it.
I'm trying to think of what we can compare it
Yeah.
to. Just think of it as little connectors all hooked up and just folding in little sections.
Yeah, so it doesn't fold all the way because of that sort of bendy nature to it.
Yeah.
So that on the hinge side, it doesn't sort of close all the way. So you'll see a little gap.
Yeah.
I think like I'll be a little bit annoyed with that, but you sort of understand why later, why they did that.
We'll quickly go through a few more things.
Yes, so Surface Book. So 13.5 inch diagonal, 267 ppi, which is the same as the Surface Pro 4.
Yep.
Also using the Pixel Sense. The trackpad is made of glass. It's using the GDDRS memory. Do you know what that is?
DDR5.
Oh, yes, I'm going blind.
Yeah, you do.
And NVIDIA GeForce GPU.
Yeah. So the way, even before they announce the price, that you look at the spec, they're targeting the high end end of the market. So the way they're doing it now is the Surface Pro will be for everyone else, and the Surface Book is for the power users. So we're talking about the architects, the gamers, and the producers.
That's right. We've got a little bit of a demo of its processing power as well. Like I think it was doing some real time rendering in the Adobe
Premiere.
Premiere.
So lots of video rendering, which is what will really push your computer to the absolute brink of the limit.
Yeah.
So they're calling it the fastest laptop ever made. I think they really need to stop using these monikers because it will always be the fastest thing you've ever made because it is the latest you've
Well,
ever
how about the first laptop you've ever made? Which is actually true.
Yeah, which is actually true. I don't know why they didn't go with it. Oh, maybe it wasn't. So it's got a 12-hour battery life, and it's twice faster. It's 2 times faster than the MacBook Pro, which is intense.
Yeah.
It's probably got the latest Intel processors, the latest NVIDIA mobile GPU.
Skylake?
Yeah, Skylake. It's going to be available for $14.99 USD on the same date as the Surface Pro. But Geoff, is there more?
There is more. There is more. So it transforms, Kelvin.
Yes.
So right at the end of this presentation, Panos, he actually revealed that the screen actually comes off. The hinge.
Everyone went crazy.
And it was totally unexpected, which, I mean, like, if you think about it, like, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
But what I really like about this is that some of the GPU, or all of the GPU, is actually in the base or the keyboard part of this device.
Yes.
So you can still walk away without the base and still use a tablet-like nature. But if you want that sort of awesome graphics in games, you couldn't touch it. You could also spin it around and bend it back. So it's like a traditional sort of like tablet transformer. So yeah, God, I want this. I want this.
I want this. So think about this. I went to the US. I brought my MacBook Air and my Android tablet because I wanted to watch movies and read the news on the plane, but I knew that the MacBook Air wouldn't have enough power for that long trip, so I had 2 devices with me. So this will replace both of them, and because it's so powerful, it'll probably replace my desktop at home as well.
Yeah.
So this kills all my devices.
Yes. Yeah, so we were like, I think I was literally clapping at the end of this. And I know you were just then. Well.
I know. So yeah, no, it's a very impressive technology. This will go head up against the Mac. Sorry, not the Mac, the iPad Pro, which you wanted to get really bad. So this is testament to how good it is.
Decision to make.
Yeah.
I'm sort of thinking like this is the first generation. This is the first laptop ever made. So I don't know. Should I trust it?
Yeah.
You can't really say Microsoft have a bad track record because they've got no track record. So yeah, it's a hard one. I think it'll actually help with the production of the podcast as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Compared to the iPad Pro.
Yeah, definitely. So, because the reason why I brought the MacBook Air was also to do that quick recording as well and do all that cutting with Audacity.
Yeah.
So this would easily do that.
So do you think? I mean, I don't have a Windows 10 device. Do you think it could still work despite the fact that I'm with Apple and the Mac OS and iOS?
Definitely, because you use Windows at work. So it's not too
So I can still use the Google services.
Yeah, definitely. So everything ties together. I think the operating system will mean very little to a lot of people now, considering that a lot of apps and programs are shared across different operating systems. I don't think we use anything that is solely wedded to one OS.
Yeah.
I think iMovie, you have Movie Maker in Microsoft.
Yeah, it's less of a factor these days, I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
So the other thing to consider is because the graphics processor unit is in the keyboard, your battery life for your tablet is going to last a lot longer because that's one of the main sort of drains on your battery life.
Yep.
So very impressive stuff. It's also got the pen. So similar pen to the Surface Pro 4.
Well, we're not sure if it comes with the pen or you have to buy separately.
it.
Probably
Yeah,
separately.
Probably, maybe, yeah. But not very impressive. It's like getting the iPad Pro and a MacBook Pro all in one. So it definitely is a better buy at this stage.
So $14.99 US, that probably translates to at least 2K
I say 2.5.
Australian. 2.5?
I would.
Oh my God, okay.
I'm saying it's 2.5. Considering that most Ultrabooks now are already at 2.2K.
Yeah, if it's 2.5, I'm not sure actually.
Yeah, 2.5K. So we'll see. I mean, when it does come here in, I'm guessing early November, at the end of October, we'll come back to this and we'll see what we know about it then.
Yeah, but just some final thoughts about this, Kelvin. So what does this all mean for everyone?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Microsoft is cool again.
Yeah.
Officially. I think we sort of got that sense early in the year, but like now they're the underdogs. Like everyone's pulling for them, I feel. Apple is the incumbent, and I don't know, like I could definitely see a day where I go full Microsoft again.
No, how crazy is that, huh?
It is crazy, yeah.
I mean, they have the enterprise side of the world all hooked up. So I mean, now all we need to do is take the people who go to work who use Microsoft operating systems and tools to want to be able to use this at home. So they started that with Xbox, and then slowly they want to introduce the Surface, and then now the Surface Book, which is a silly name, by the way.
And I think they had to go through the pain of Windows 8 and some of the other deals with Nokia to just figure this out. I think for themselves. And, they just got sick of waiting for, their partners to build Windows devices.
Yeah.
And so like, screw you guys. We're just going to try our own thing. I mean, they've got the know-how. They've got the engineers. They've got the marketing.
They got the money.
They've got the money.
Yeah. And I like what you said here in the notes that this is now Satya's Microsoft.
Oh, yeah. So is, yeah. Could this have happened under Steve Ballmer?
I don't know. I think for Steve, he was old school. He kept it running. He may have set it up for Satya, but Satya's experience is very different to Bill and Ballmer's. So who would have known? The other big thing is if I was Acer, Asus, IBM, HP, I would be very worried now because Microsoft is now making their own equipment. They've gone all Apple, basically. I think they've understood that they have controlled the hardware and the software. They're going to be able to create a better product, a better brand.
Yeah, so you were saying that you think Apple has won now because of this. Was that you? Maybe someone else?
Yeah, Apple has won. Yeah. I mean, in terms of figuring out what works.
Philosophy.
The philosophy they've won. Whether they can go up against Microsoft now is very, very interesting. The one thing that Microsoft doesn't have at the moment is a mobile device / ecosystem that will challenge Android or iOS at this stage. But I don't see why they couldn't get there with Continuum now. So Continuum, we spoke about it really quickly, but they want to start an ecosystem where their apps can work across all their devices. So we're looking forward to that.
As you command, Major John.
So in entertainment news, we haven't done one of these for a while, I don't think, because there's just been so much happening
in the tech world.
In the tech world. So a little bit of entertainment news that I found this week. Transformers. So actually, let's just play a clip just to set this up.
Well, you're going to see a new Transformers movie coming from Hasbro and Paramount and Michael Bay and our other partners. In fact, we just finished, which some of you may have read, just an incredible experience. We decided that we wanted to plot out the next 10 years of the Transformers franchise. And so we got together in a room over a 3-month period of time, 9 of some of the most creative writers I have ever worked with, shepherded by Akiva Goldsman, who many of you may know, won an Academy Award for A Beautiful Mind and written a bunch of really great movies. And they plotted out the next 10 years of Transformers. Similarly, we're doing the same in television and in digital. So stay tuned. Transformers 5 is on its way. And 6 and 7 and 8.
Okay, so that was Stephen J. Davis, who's the president of Hasbro Studios, also Hasbro Entertainment and Licensing. longest job title ever. So that was him at the MIP Junior Conference, which is part of the MIPCom. Do you know about this?
Nope, never heard of the Marché International de Programs Communications trade show.
Yeah, so this is where all the TV execs hang out every year in Cannes, the Mediterranean city of Cannes, and they sort of look at what programming they have for the rest of the year, I suppose. And this is, I guess, the children sort of portion of the conference. Anyway, so I didn't realize Hasbro was such influential in this field, but that was Stephen J. Davis talking about how for the next 10 years, just like Disney has mapped out the next Marvel sort of universe, cinematic universe. So Transformers, despite its I don't know, it's lack of critical acclaim. There's going to be more Transformers.
Unfortunately, it makes money. So Michael Bay is back with Transformers 5. And every Transformers we've watched so far is just nothing but brand placement and a lot of big explosions and cars. It's not really.
I'm going to give it a chance though, because the 9 writers that they talked about, Oscar, Academy Awards caliber writers, apparently they sort of brainstormed for 3 months in a room.
Yeah, I just wish it was Michael Bay.
Well, he's directing the 5th one, but beyond that, we're not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'll hold my breath for 6. No, definitely not 5. It's Michael Bay. We just know it's going to be the same formula. It's going to work. And it's not going to change the way. It's not going to bring back the childhood Transformers that you and I know of.
Optimus, come to save the day, I presume. Devastator. Take this!
So staying on the Transformers theme, that was of course Optimus Prime and Megatron in the new Transformers game called Devastations that's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Just when I was talking about the childhood Transformers that you and I both love,
exactly.
It's back to its roots. I mean, back to what we know.
Yeah, so it's over the top. It's based on the it's similar to the Bayonetta 2 game, which is a crazy sort of Japanese sort of manga style fighting game.
Which is unfortunately known for its scantily clad, dressed action hero. But anyway,
so I didn't sort of know about this term, but it's a cell shaded style game. Yeah. So I think it's similar to what's the I was looking at it yesterday at JB Hi-Fi actually, but I can't remember.
Is it Sunset Overdrive?
Let's go with that. It was another game I was thinking of, but so you have 5 playable characters of the Autobots. So Optimus, of course. Bumblebee, Sideswipe, Wheeljack, and Grimlock.
Yeah, no, definitely all the favorites.
Who's your favorite out of those?
I like Grimlock. He's got character.
So he's the T-Rex,
Yeah, I love Grimlock.
Yep, and it's also voiced by Peter Cullen, the classic Transformers voice actor. Optimus Prime, basically. He's been involved with all the original series as well as the movies as well. Yeah. And did you know that it was actually leaked at E3?
No, I didn't know that.
And and I was looking at other videos and IGN articles. They featured it very heavily at Comic-Con, but it sort of came through my Facebook feed this week, and I just instantly fell in love with it. So I'm definitely going to EB Games to purchase.
Yeah. No. So it's definitely, I think, one of the games that are coming out. It's probably going to be a good, fun action game. I wouldn't give it too much thought in terms of story, plot line, or anything like that, but it looks like good fun.
So it's going to be $49.95 in Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Coming really out for the Xbox One, 360, PS4, and PS3.
Yeah, so for everything.
Yeah, so we're running out of Mixler room here, so let's finish up. Got a couple of cool things happening this weekend, Kelvin.
Yeah.
So Graphic Festival is happening at the Sydney Opera House. We talked about it a few weeks ago, but that's happening this Sunday.
Yep, we'll be there. I've got the tickets in front of me. We'll be watching the Mad Max Fury Road presentation by George Miller, Brendan McCarty, and Nico Lorothris. Just talking about how they created that apocalypse, and we'll also be looking at The Walking Dead, the premiere of season 6.
That'll be cool, yeah. There's Nicola Scott, who I believe is one of the artists for DC Comics.
Yep, and then, more Mad Max Fury type stories from Brendan McCarthy.
And one by Animal Logic, who crafted the Lego Movie. So that's the local studio here in Sydney. I actually have a couple of friends there, so hopefully I'll bump into them.
Same here. And there's PodCon.
Yeah, so this is a conference that's totally online. And I don't know if you've got that link, but
I'm looking at it right now.
The only speaker I know is Veronica Belmont, who's friend of Twit and Tom Merritt and those guys.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so it's I think Friday morning our time, so actually you might sort of tune in before I go into work.
Yeah, no, I might do the same. So basically, it's a podcaster conference. It's a pop-up conference for podcasters and podcast junkies alike.
Yeah.
You get a chance to learn from some of the best podcasters in the industry. Let's see if there are any other Aussies here. Not really. It's 12 p.m. PDT, so we'll have to figure out when that's...
so once you register and sort of RSVP to it, you know how Gmail recognizes where that actually is, and it's once you add to the calendar, it tells you exactly. So that's been a crazy show. I feel like taking a breath now, but
I feel like spending some money.
Yeah, and thanks for those who've been recommending stories, and we've been taking notice. So keep that going. You could do that again through Twitter on @TheLazyCouch, also thelazycouchpodcast@gmail.com, or our personal email addresses, which we probably won't share here. But if you know them, you can do that as well. You can find us on Facebook. We're sharing some great content on Facebook.
Yeah, I know. You definitely want to like us and follow that.
Yeah, and tell your friends too to do the same. We're also on Instagram, so search for us there. The website is thelazycouch.com. Please rate us on iTunes and spread the word. And there's this new podcast.com that you started.
Yes, so it's a good directory. It's introducing other podcasters as well. So you can also find us on podcast.com. But we're also now on YouTube. So if you're listening now on YouTube, don't forget to like this video or subscribe to us. So let us know what you think and what else you want to see on YouTube.
Great. And Geoff out.
Yeah, Kelv out.
Do you want to do a reaction video? We haven't done one for a while.
How long have we been going?
It just finished, I think.
Okay. Yes. What video you got for me, man? What do you got for me?
Where'd I go? Actually, I don't know if this is going to work. Actually, did you tell me about this?
What is it?
Jaws 19?
No, right? What is it?
Jaws made you afraid to go in the water. Jaws 2 made you afraid to go back in the water. Jaws 3D was a new dimension in terror. In Jaws 4 The Revenge, it was personal. Then it was
How many
just
Jaws,
business.
original Jaws were there?
Pure pleasure. Cyber Jaws made you afraid to log on. And Robo Jaws made you afraid of robotic sharks. Chief Brody's grandson assembled a super team of shark hunters. Jaws 10, it was man versus shark versus all the terrors of the deep. Outer space, then a prequel, and a sequel to the prequel. And then a new era in terror began. Jaws started a family.
In terror, I like that.
Battled a Russian shark named Ivan Sharkovsky. Took a bite out of a big apple and learned about love from a mysterious
50 scales of grey.
Origins, the mind-blowing reboot. Now, the oceans are disappearing, and to save their home, the sharks must attack. Jaws 19.
Jaws 9.
This time, it's really
So Back to the Future Day is coming up.
Yeah, Jaws 19.
October 21. I think it was Jaws 19 that was...
Yeah, it was Jaws 19.
Very good. Still looks fake. So did you know Pepsi, based on the made-up ad from the movie, they're actually bringing out the bottle that was in the...
Really? That's pretty cool. Because I know Nike has built the shoe. People have tried to build the hovercraft.
So they said they were going to only make 6,000 of the bottles.
Wow.
They're going to hand them out to people who dress up as Marty McFly at the New York Comic Con.
Wow. Good on Pepsi to be able to, service a very small niche crowd.